Good morning, children. Welcome back to our chemistry class. That air and atmosphere. In the previous class, we discussed about various components of the air. Air is a mixture of several gases. Which gases are present in which proportion? The proportion percentage of gases, the quantity of gases present in the air. Then nitrogen is the major one. After nitrogen, the oxygen, then carbon dioxide, water vapors, other inert gases. All these things are present in the air, and therefore air is termed as a mixture of several gases. So in the previous class, what we discussed? The different constituent components, things present in the air. Now today we are here to discuss about uses of the components of air. The components of air we know, such as nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapors, inert gases. These are the components. But today we are here to discuss their uses of those components present in the air. So we have taken oxygen. Nitrogen also plays a major role. The amount of nitrogen present in the air, atmospheric air, which has a vital role. But without discussing about nitrogen, we have given this. So I would like to mention about nitrogen also. Nitrogen is most essential component of our diet, because protein, for the formation of protein molecule, nitrogen is very essential, very direly needed. But the amount of free nitrogen present in the atmospheric air is not taken or utilized by green plant. Green plant also, all the autotrophic organisms, green plants also need nitrogen for the formation of chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? A green color pigment present in a plant. That pigment produced or formed in a plant body with the help of nitrogen only. But there is a controversy that which component is more in quantity in the air? Nitrogen. But the amount of huge nitrogen present in the atmospheric air, plants or animals, human beings cannot use it. Why they cannot use it? That nitrogen present freely in the atmospheric air, further it has to convert, further it has to split into its compound, like nitrate and nitrites. Then the plants or animals or human beings can use that nitrogen, and that work is done by bacteria. We call the bacteria which convert the nitrogen into its compound. That bacteria are called nitrogen fixing bacteria, and that process is called nitrogen fixation. Then once the bacteria, nitrogen fixing bacteria, convert the nitrogen into nitrates and nitrites, then the other plants and animals, human beings, they can use that nitrogen in its compound form. So here oxygen, the second major component of air after nitrogen. Oxygen. What is the use of oxygen? It is listed down below, written here. One is respiration, the other is combustion. So let me tell you before respiration. What is respiration? You are aware. What is respiration? Intake of O2, release of CO2. If below grade students, if they say this definition, we can accept this. But you are in higher grades now, grade 6. When it is asked you define respiration, you are supposed to say that respiration can be defined as the process of oxidation of food and release of energy. I repeat the definition of respiration. Respiration can be defined as the process of oxidation of food and release of energy. During respiration, what happens? The amount of oxygen which we intake, which we inhale, which we breathe in, that oxygen after enters into the cytoplasm of every cell of our body, that oxygen splits, breaks down. What it will break down? It will break the food molecules. For example, see here. C6, H12, O6. C6H12O6. What is this formula of glucose or carbohydrate? C6H12O6. Food. This food, how it gets oxidized? It gets oxidized. For the oxidation of this food, what is needed? Oxygen is needed. O2. O2 is a molecular formula of oxygen. How many molecules of oxygen are needed? 6 molecules. This is the formula of glucose, is it? C6H12O6. This is glucose, or you can say this is the food which we have taken an organism. The food taken by the organism get oxidized. How that food will get oxidized? With the help of oxygen. That oxygen we are taking, the organism taking the oxygen during this process. Therefore, we say that respiration is a process defined as oxidation of food and release of energy. So, how the amount of oxygen which is taken in, breathe in, inhale in during respiration process, that oxygen oxidizes food molecules into what? 6 H2O plus 6 CO2 plus energy. Now see, the food molecule is there. The food molecule oxidation. What does it mean by oxidation? Breakdown. Oxidation. We are saying that oxidation of food occurs. How the oxidation of food occurs? Food is getting oxidized with the help of oxygen. Oxidation means breaking down. Oxidation of food is taking place. Food will be split. This is the formula of food we are taking. This food is oxidizing. This food is broken down with the help of oxygen into what? Water, carbon dioxide. It is broken down into water and carbon dioxide plus energy. In addition to this, water and carbon dioxide, what will be produced? Energy also produced. So we call it as aerobic respiration. The respiration which takes place in the presence of oxygen. The food molecules are broken down, break with the help of oxygen. Is called aerobic respiration. The respiration which need oxygen. See how this element oxygen, it's a component of air, correct? How it's used. This has vital role during respiration. During breathing we take the oxygen. That oxygen enters through nostril, nasal cavity, larynx, pharynx, through the entire respiratory tract, then finally reaches the lungs. From lungs it is supplied to the various tissues, various cells of our body. Then when the amount of oxygen enters into the cells of our body, it starts this process, oxidation process, breaking down the food molecules. And the food molecules are broken down with the help of this oxygen, and it splits that into this one. Sorry, here I have mentioned this oxygen, should be not carbon dioxide. 6 molecules are carbon dioxide. So end products of respiration are what? Water and carbon dioxide plus energy. This is one use. So this element oxygen plays a major role in during respiration. Now another example you can take, combustion. This element, how it is responsible for this respiration process. Similarly, combustion, it is responsible for combustion also. It is direly needed for combustion to take place. Without oxygen, no combustion. What is combustion? Definition of respiration we know. The process of oxidation of food and release of energy is respiration. What is combustion? Combustion, in a simple way we can call it as burning. In other term, for a burning process we call as combustion. Any combustible substance. What do you mean by combustible substance? The substance which can burn. Paper, cloth, wood, these all are combustible substances. When a combustible substance reacts with oxidizing agent and produces energy in the form of heat and light. Any combustible substances, before we try to burn it, then if there is availability of oxygen, then only the combustible substance will burn. So we call definition of combustion as when a combustible substance reacts with oxidizing agent, it starts burning and it produces energy in the form of heat and light. During burning, both energy we get no. If paper is burned, when the paper burns, it gives light as well as heat, both the energies. So burning is nothing but combustion. For combustion, what is needed? Oxygen. For respiration, what is needed? Oxygen. Without oxygen, there is no combustion. If you light a candle, you may come across with the simple activity. If candle is lighted, and if you invert a jar over the burning candle, after some time, the flame gets off, the candle gets off. Why? Due to no availability of oxygen in a jar. So, for a combustion, for burning, if oxygen is availability of oxygen is combustion processes depend upon availability of oxygen. If oxygen is not available, combustion does not occur. It will not happen. So, we can conclude that this element present in the atmospheric air plays a vital role during respiration as well as combustion. Oxygen is very essential for respiration process as well as oxygen is essential for combustion. So this is enough for today. So this is what the uses of component of air. Oxygen as a component we have taken. What are the uses of oxygen we have discussed? How oxygen is responsible for respiration and how it is responsible for combustion. So uses of other component of the air will be discussed in our next class. So we will conclude here. Thank you.